Hello, everybody. It's going to take a
Hello.
second for us to be live here. Hello, hello.
Hi.
We
Hi.
have some folks in the chat. Hello, Unito's here. We've got Navito7. Gustavo's here. Let's see. Yes, welcome, crew. We are excited to have you today. This is exciting. This is almost like a part two of an event we had a few weeks ago talking about mirroring in Trello and Trello's new native features for card mirroring. But it's also like part four of a series we've been doing for a while called Mighty Morphin Power Up Rangers, where Mike and I bring on power ups and we talk about power ups that do all sorts of cool things in Trello to supercharge and automate your boards. So yeah, I'll wait one moment to maybe kick things off. But yeah, I am drinking today. This is maybe the weirdest, most American thing. It's called a loaded tea. And I don't know what officially constitutes tea. Like I don't know what the definition of tea is, but this is effectively like sugary liquid like caffeine. There are no leaves that were involved in the making of this, but it is very good. It gives me lots of energy. If anyone knows what Kool-Aid is, I like to call it like caffeinated Kool-Aid. Is that a thing outside of the US? I assume it's not.
The only reason I know about Kool-Aid is because of Family Guy.
A Family Guy. Okay, yeah. I don't even know. How would you describe Kool-Aid to someone? Let me see. To someone who does it, because that's like, it's one of those, like, it's a brand name. It's a powder that is added to a water or another liquid to make a fruit flavored soft drink. That's a good way to describe it. Thank you, internet. Yeah.
In the UK, we have liquid that you add to water to make a soft drink. So
yes,
I guess
well,
a cordial. Yeah,
we have that too. I've started getting into it. It's called Mio. Is I think the brand that we have that's kind of like that. So yeah.
I think the idea of powder, it scares people.
The idea of powder scares, yeah, you don't want to just put random powders in your drinks. That's shocking. All right. Well, I will go ahead and kick things off and get things started for everyone. First of all, make sure to follow along. Oop, wrong link. Also wrong link, but still a good one. There we go. Make sure to follow along on this board. You can go to this QR code. I will also drop this link in the chat. But to follow along for today, we have a Trello board that is going to walk you through all the stuff that we've got going on. That way you can keep track of things. You don't have to remember everything as we go. It's going to have links to everything. The recording is right there. So make sure to save that board. It's public. You can view it. You don't need to join it. Someone always tries to join. You're welcome to. Come on in. The more the merrier. But it is public, so you should be able to view it just fine. And yeah, make sure to join the Trello Trailblazers if you have not already. We are a really fun crew of people. Mike and I host this, and we love having more friends to nerd out about Trello. So make sure to join if you have not already. And for those who don't know, my name is Brittany Joyner. I am obsessed with Trello, and I use it to do all sorts of different things. And Mike's over here also. I feel like Mike, I'm like half on half when I remember to introduce myself and not, but maybe we should make a reminder to introduce ourselves.
I think we assume that everyone who's joining kind of knows us already, but yeah, I'm Mike. I'm a Trello consultant. I kind of build systems and consult for Trello. I've been using it for forever and obsessed with it as Brit is. And yeah, we kind of come together to kind of try build this sort of group of people who love it as much as we do.
Yes, exactly. And we've got a special guest here today. Reinder is going to talk about his power up Placker and how it does things with card mirroring and syncing. And we're going to talk all about that. And yeah, just in case you're sitting here and you're like, okay, I like Trello, but I'm here. Why do I care about card mirroring and syncing? It is one of the most common questions in the last decade of me using Trello that I get asked. And Mike, I'm sure you've seen it too. Everybody wants to have a card in one place, but be able to display it in other places and be able to update it from those places and be able to see that information reflected, whether it's you have a board for work and you have one with your team and you want to have your own board of your own sort of things going on that you can look at and move around, or maybe it's, you know, you're working with multiple teams and different projects, but you need everything in one place, or you have different stakeholders and they don't want to see certain things on one board, but they want to see things on another. So there's all sorts of reasons that I see people are interested in card syncing and mirroring. And if you're here just because you're interested in Trello and you've never thought about it, I guarantee if you watch this, you're going to be super excited and you're going to come up with some ideas for yourself here. So we've got 2 power-ups we're going to show today. We've also got a fun and exciting announcement we're going to show later. But so yeah, make sure to stay tuned for that. And yeah, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pass over to Reinder.
Yes, thank you, Brittany. Yeah, so my name is Reinder. I'm the founder of Plecker, and I've been working with Plecker and with Trello now for over 10 years. So that was before even the Power Directory was there. And at Plecker, we basically help teams of any size to get their work done across multiple boards. Because as you were saying, Brittany, one Trello board is nice, but normally there's more than one board involved. And that's where the complexity gets started. So we have a couple of power-ups to help teams with multiple boards. We can create a virtual board group to manage cards across boards into one view. We have Gantt chart reports, those kind of things. But today we will be focusing on the card mirror power-up. Our first power-up around card mirroring was already in 2017, so that's a long time back. I don't think it was called Mirror at the time, but it indeed allowed you to sync cards across different boards for a lot of different use cases. What I would like to do is first show the Trello Mirror feature, how it can be used, and then I can show you how the advanced mirror power-up by Plecker can then be used to turn the Trello links into a fully synced card and other things to do with it. If you have any questions or things to chip in, please do so. Let me share my screen.
Yeah, there we go.
Let's see. Yeah, so I prepared a setup where I'm working on a marketing team. So I have a team board with my team where there are cards that we use to track from a backlog to complete it. But I also have my personal board that I would like to use to basically get cards from my team boards. Maybe I'm not working only in the marketing team, but maybe there's a different team or project that I'm also working in, and I would like to create my personal board with all of my work. So the way that it works now is that if I'm on my team and I get assigned to a card, so let's say I'm going to work on this card, you can already see that the advanced mirror power is added here, but I'm going to use the Trello mirror feature to create a mirror on my personal board. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mirror this card to my personal board in the next list. And what this will do is this will create this card mirror. So that's basically a card that looks like a card on my personal board, but is actually the card on the marketing board. So if I open it, it will show me that I'm viewing the card from the marketing board. So it's basically a variant of this. It has a few restrictions at the moment. So you can see that the power-up information that's on the original card is not in the mirrored view. But I can open it and I can also move it around. And so now I basically have that linked card visible on my personal board, and I can move it around. I can open it, I can change it, but there are a couple of limitations to the way that the Trello mirror works. One of them is that you just notice that I move this card to another list, and obviously, and that's because this is a link, the original card is not being moved. So I have the same list, so you might expect that it's going to be moved, but it's not automatically moved. Also, when I would archive this card, it would not automatically be archived. So there are a few restrictions in the Trello linked mirrors that are in place. Another thing at the moment is that I cannot yet see the mirrored card in my other views. I think that Trello is working to implement this, but at the moment they are not visible.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I actually think that's a thing a lot of people are asking about. I think
Yeah.
there are plans for it to come, but it doesn't work in like filters. So if you, let's
Yeah.
say, you're assigned to these cards and you filter on your board, your mirrored cards will not show up there. You can't sort by due date.
Yeah.
So I do believe those things are coming, but yeah, they're not there at the moment.
Exactly. So the thing is basically there are some limitations on the mirror link, and that's because it's not a full card. So what I'm going to do, and I think I should make my screen bigger because I have already the power up. I'm going to, I've added the advanced mirror power up to this board, and I'm going to import my board into Plecker. And what will happen then is that we are going to process the board, and we will turn the linked cards into a fully synced card. So what that means is that it really is actually a card. And then when you move the card in your personal board, it will also be moved in the team board, etc. So this is done. It should be done. Let me check if it's really the case. Oh, yeah, there it is. I was checking because I could still see the mirror cards, and you can see that these cards are now turning into a real card. It has a little mirror icon on it, so it means it's being mirrored, and it's now basically a full card, but it's in full sync. So if I would move this card, well, it's in next. So if I move it to the started list, then you will see that also here the card will be moved to the started list, as you can see. If I would move it to the completed list, it would obviously be completed. There's another thing in Plecker is that I let Plecker know that the completed list is linked to the completed status. So you notice that the card is also checked off. So all those automations are now created out of the box. And I can also see all of the cards now in the table just because it's a fully synced card. Now, when I would now add another mirror link to this board, so I'm going to take this card and I'm going to mirror it to the next list, and then you see actually the first link is created and it's being overwritten by this card. And I think another nice thing that we have is that it's now also possible to see the linked cards from the source card. And so you can see where the cards are in both directions, which allow you to manage those cards better. Yeah, that's it for the let's say the basic case. What's good to note is that you can change the way that the mirrors are being created, which attributes are being synced. So there are a lot of settings. So let me open the mirror settings in Plecker. So you can fully specify which attributes you would like to sync. So for example, if you don't want any comments to go from one board to the other board, or if you only want to mirror the labels, that's possible. So within Plecker, you can configure on a board level which attributes should be included in the mirrors. So you can fully control what information is flowing which way and not. And what we also can do is we can automatically, if you would like to do that, automatically create labels, custom fields, and even members if you would like from one board on another. So if I would add a member on the source board, then I can even also automatically add it to the target board if I want to. It's off by default, but if you would like to have that on, you can also enable this.
I just want to interject real quick and say I think that's actually a really cool feature in general. Like just even aside from, if you think about the types of people who are probably going to be using these workflows, you're operating in these multiple boards. Maybe each board is a different project. Like you're often going to want some of that consistency. And, you can almost think of it as like, I don't have to worry about which board has what. I can just, quickly move things around with ease and everything will have what it needs to have in the places it is. So I think that's a really cool feature. I just wanted to call out.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's good to say that, as I said, we are working on mirrors for many years already. And it's indeed these kinds of things that makes it a lot smarter, because indeed, if you create a custom field on one board and you forgot to create it on the other, it's even a way to sync custom fields across boards by some people, because you basically create a mirror and it is there.
Yeah,
You don't have
exactly.
to-
Exactly.
or maybe that one value that is on your on one board but it's not yet on the other. It's you can even sync the custom field values this way. So it is going quite advanced. And the other thing that you can do is, and I will show you the parent-child mirrors, because obviously we are looking now into card-to-card mirrors. But in a lot of teams, you are breaking down your single card into a checklist. And one person is working on one checklist item, another person is working on another checklist item. And with Plecker, you can create a card from a checklist item into another board, and then even have them fully synced. So if I complete my card on my personal board, it will be checked off in the checklist. I will show that in a second. The other thing that we have is similar to the automation rules that are in Trello. You can also set up automation rules in Plecker. And I can set up a couple of rules in Plecker. So I can say whenever I am assigned, and let's move this to the. So whenever I'm assigned to a card, create a mirror in my personal board and match the list based by the card progress. So, for example, if there's an open list on one board and the card is open, then I can mirror it to my open list on the other board. I can also indicate what I should do when I'm no longer assigned. So maybe you want to leave the mirror and the card intact, but I can also set it up that when I'm no longer inside, the mirror should be removed and also should be removed from my board. So I'm going to do that. So this means that whenever I'm assigning myself to a card, it will create a mirror on my personal board. And if I'm no longer assigned, it will be removed. And I'm going to create a similar rule for a checklist item. So I have a rule that says whenever a member is assigned to a checklist item, I'm going to mirror this to my personal board. And let's say I'm going to mirror it to the next list.
This is super handy, as Mike and I were talking about before we actually got on live here, the idea of using checklists as like, child cards and almost like the parent is the child and checklist items. This is really useful for something like this, where you're like, I'm on this checklist and I need to know it's a thing that I am responsible for, but it's not quite the same hierarchy as a card level here. And so this would be really.
Yeah, exactly. And also sometimes you have a flow where you have a card that might go to design first before it's being developed. And there's a separate design board from a development board. So you want to create that design card from the checklist item on the design board, from the main board. All those kind of use cases are there. Maybe it's good to say that because we have a lot of experience with a lot of different use cases, our support team, I know Gustavo is in this call as well, we are happy to help. So there's a chat in Plecker that you can always use if you have any questions. So please also use that, because it's a nice puzzle to figure out how to set up the rules and make it work. So let's see. Okay, so I just created the rules. So that means that if I go into this card, it's not yet mirrored, and when I'm going to assign myself, then it should create a card. There it is on my personal board. So this is the card that's being added on my personal board, and that's because I'm assigned to the card. And then when I'm removing myself from this board, I always click on the right one, so I say leave, then also the card should be removed from my board. That's something I can set up, but it works quite well if you don't want things to be cluttered. So that's one way to create a mirror. I also created the rule to say, okay, when I'm assigned to a checklist item, so let's say I have this checklist item and this is what I should do. So I'm going to assign myself. And what will happen is this will create a card. There it is. it will also create a link in the checklist itself, so I can click on the link to open the card. And then when I'm working on this card and marking it as complete, as you do that here, then it will also be completed on the checklist, as you can see. What's also nice, if you open the card itself, you will see the parent here. So it shows you who the parent is. If you click on it, it will open the board. So you can also navigate back and forward. And then also here we had the rule that when I'm removed from the card, then it will also remove the mirror. So that should happen. Should happen in a moment. So we'll see it. And I think that's it might take a second to sync up, but that should be the case.
I think for me, this parent-child relationship and the mirroring, the two bits missing. You can do it with Trello automation to an extent, but the two bits are missing is synchronizing the date and the member. And this is what Placker sort of comes in and does for you, which is kind of filling those holes that are missing from Trello.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why we are calling this also the advanced mirror power up, because it really advances the Trello mirror features. Also with automation rules, you can create rules to sync up mirror cards to find it. You can obviously do that as well, but I think it's a lot easier if you can set it up with one power up and you can make it work. When I remove the power up, so I can also do that, then it will restore the mirrors that were created by the Trello feature. Let me do that. No, I should say disable. And I can tell it should delete the data. And what it will do is it will turn the links back into mirrors again. So also, if you like to try it and decide not to use it for whatever reason, then you can simply restore everything back as it was before, basically.
That's awesome. That's
So I think that's my demo. Any questions or things to highlight or look into?
I think you explained this quite well. I was really impressed looking around at it because, like I was saying earlier at the call, I think the native mirroring in Trello scratches an itch, and it's really nice to be a window, as I know the Trello teams kind of use to explain how this feature works. Whereas I feel like this takes you through the window, right? Like you can actually interact and do things on the other side there. No, I think this is really cool. One thing I'm kind of curious about, how does it handle things like permission? Like, let's say, for instance, I assume it's just since it's all board related. If someone, let's say I have access to this board and I mirror a card to another board that another person doesn't have access to, are they going to be able to see that mirrored card? Or what does that experience look like for someone who's maybe part of my team board, but not part of, maybe the other way around. Yeah. Like, let's say I make something on my personal board, but I mirror it over to the team board. Will my team see it, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so because the Trello or the mirrored card is actually a card, you can see the full card.
Oh, nice.
And you can only you can decide and set what you would like to mirror. So if I don't want to mirror comments or don't want to mirror certain attributes, then I can disable that. But in principle, if you can access the board, you can access the card, and you can also see the card. So whatever you see on the board, you can handle. And that actually works quite nice, because we see a lot of cases where you might have a team board, but you also would like to have a client board where you can mirror cards for a client. And obviously, as a client, you would like to see it. Maybe you would like to add comments, so you can maintain your client's board in his own board. And from that perspective,
That's perfect. Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to say is like there's some, scenario where that actually is to me a feature, like being able to share that aspect and let people see without having to, add them to specific things, because that's also a good way to save you money, right? Like and not that you would have all of your clients in one board together, but a lot of, trying to work with the collaborator requirements and things. Many of us are using a premium workspace or a paid workspace and paying for ourselves, and then trying to have single board guests into those. So if you can, mirror things between boards, then there's no reason you don't necessarily need to have people in multiple boards, because you can have things mirrored to that board that person's in. So that's actually a great feature. What about, Rasmus has a good question. What about other power-ups data on the card? I assume you can't mirror that. So let's say maybe if I assume Rasmus is asking like badges and things, like let's say you're using Crumble or something and you've got those different attributes. Yeah. Well, how does that look?
No, exactly. So if it's other power-ups data, we cannot access that from Plecker, because we are making the copy from our perspective. So we obviously do copy and mirror the Plecker attributes if they are on the card. So to power the report and the Gantt chart, we also have attributes, but we cannot indeed access the attributes from other power-ups. So they are not mirrored from that perspective.
Yeah, makes sense.
I guess one good thing about this is because you're using the native Trello attributes is that the mirroring will actually function perfectly within the Trello mobile app, which is obviously one of the big complaints with most power-ups.
Yeah, exactly. And also custom fields definitely are supported. So all the native Trello attributes will be mirrored. But indeed, if you are using another power-up for something different, the benefit is that if you have a card with dates and you are using a different reporting or Gantt chart power-up, then it's also visible in those power-ups. But if they have like native data, extra data, then it will not be copied, because we cannot access it. So basically,
yeah. No, I think that makes sense.
I have a question. Are there any limits to the number of mirrors that you can do?
We do have a technical limit on the board on the mirror group. So we have like a limit on how many cards do you have in the same group, and that's because there's a technical reason to avoid issues with updates. But the limit is like 12 to 15 cards. So to be honest, we don't have many teams that hit that limit. So I think you are able to cover most mirror scenarios with Plecker for sure.
Yeah. Amy in the chat mentioned a good use case: mirroring a team card to a personal board after someone adds you is needed in my life. No more surprise projects. I totally agree. This is probably the first thing I think of when I think of mirroring, is like being able to add a card that is, in one board to simplify things. Even if you're using Trello workspace views, which I do, I can see how this would be useful, because workspace views are only by workspace, as they say. So, I have my workspace that I operate majority of my life out of, but Mike and I also have a workspace that we collaborate with things in. And so I could see using something like this to try to bring those cards over so that they are combined into my workspace single view. So I can see, okay, here's what I'm doing this week, not just in Brittany's workspace, but across, everything that I'm assigned. So
maybe exactly. And then because this is obviously workspace independent from that perspective, and maybe what's also good to mention, a quite a common use case for teams on Pleckers is for example, an event management organization that is starting a new project every week, had to get something set. And the rules that I showed you can be added to a Plecker template. So each project that you then create, each board can automatically copy those rules. So things like automatically creating a card to your personal board and other mirror rules are then set from the start. So we have template functionality in our system that allows you to simply set up a template once and set up the rules once and apply them to each board that are being imported. So it's very easy to get it working across all of your boards.
Yes, love that. Got a question from Kevin. Can you mirror a card from a premium board to someone's free board? Yes, the mirroring features are not, that is not a well, actually, now that I think about it, Trello's native mirroring features, there are certain attributes, I think, Mike, you correct me if I'm wrong here, that it's an enhanced
It's a
sort of
pretty lean
view.
card
A
in
pretty link.
free.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not as ugly as it used to be. It's just, but it doesn't show any of the card front. It doesn't. If you click on it,
Right.
it doesn't actually do anything.
Right. That's what it does. Yeah. But this render, how does this relate to, let's say I'm on a premium board, someone else has a free board. What is this, how does this mirror power up experience work for advanced mirrors?
Yeah, so for us it doesn't matter what your Trello subscription is, so it will work on the free Trello subscription also. You do need a plan on or a subscription on Plecker though, because we are a paid power up. But when you have a plan in Plecker, you can work on it on any type of board, so whether it's free or premium or whatever. So it will work.
Perfect. Yeah. And Rudy is also here with a great question. I know we chatted about this, but would you mind demoing real quick how you can change the list of a mirrored card so it follows the original? I think that's something that at the moment is a little annoying to build with automation with Trello's native mirroring features. So yeah, if you can show how this works, that would be really cool.
Yeah, exactly. So if you create a mirror with Plecker, and then when the list names are the same, we can automatically also update the list. But if your list names are slightly different, so for example, in my team board, I call it backlog, next, started, and completed. And on my personal board, it's called later, today, doing, done. And then it sort of doesn't work. But we have a solution for that, because in Plecker, you can determine which status is linked to which list. So done is completed, doing means it's started, today means it's open, etc. So then I can move the list by updating the state. So for example, if I have this create analytics dashboard template, and I'm going to mirror this card now to this other board, so let me do that. I'm going to do it to the today list. And then it switches into this mirror. And if I'm now moving this card to doing, then it shoots. Yeah, it does. So it's moving it to started, and that's based on the Plecker status. So I just set it up once to say, okay, started means started, and done obviously means done. So this should be moved to the done list. And you can see it's because this is completed, it also checks the marks. So you can that's supported. Yeah.
Yeah, that's super handy to do, because yeah, having them, like, in general, just for consistency, even aside from automation, I generally try to use the same terms across my boards. Yeah. But even I don't always do that. So even if they're just boards that I operate in, I don't always use the same terminology. So being able to map that and clarify that is
exactly.
cool.
And also sometimes teams have different names, so maybe it's like an iteration plan board where you have a lot of iterations and then it's done, or you have a backlog that's planned in a different way. So you do have to work with different list names and different board setups. So this is the way how to handle that. Yeah.
Yeah. Rudy also asking, does it work the other way around? So if you move the original, which I believe it does. Yeah.
Let's do it. So you can see, I can of course say it. So I'm going to move this to the next list.
Yay, there it is. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's moving it to later, and that's because I told Plecker that both of these lists have the same status, meaning it's open. So it basically picked the first list. So that's why it's later.
Yeah. That's awesome. That makes perfect sense. Thank you for sharing that. Rasmus is also asking about attachments. Are they mirrored or are they made as links? And what about stickers?
Yeah, so attachments are mirrored as links if you wanted to have that. So it's a setting, and then it is a link. So it links to the original attachment. And stickers are not being mirrored because that's. I don't even think it's in the API, but
I don't think it is
Rasmus might know
either. Is
better.
it? Yeah. Rasmus knows the Trello API
Exactly.
like magic. So Rasmus might be able to tell us if it's hidden in there somewhere, and we just don't know it yet. But yeah, I don't think I have seen too much done about mirror or about stickers. Mike says we need to give Trello stickers a big comeback in 2025, and I agree.
Yeah, they were fun in 2017. They could be fun again in 2025.
Exactly. I love it. Awesome. Well, I know, yeah, Render, I know you've got you've got to bounce here in a second, but are there any final words or anything else you want to tell us about Placker? I know, you mentioned a little while ago about power-ups that, Placker attributes could be mirrored. I don't know if you want to give a quick explainer of like some other things Placker can do and how that works. If you get the advanced mirror power-up, do you get other Placker features or do you buy them all together or how does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. I can give a short demo. So obviously we have Trello. Next to that we have Placker. When you are using the mirrors, then Placker is a bit hidden. But you can also use Placker for other things. So I'm just opening the Placker interface. What I did is I opened two boards in the same view. And so we are really focused on making it easy for you to manage work across multiple boards. And we can also do things like combining your board, so you can view your board as if it is one board. The thing is that the lists are a bit different here, so that combines a bit different. But obviously, if it's the same list names, then it would look like one board, and you can also drag and drop cards in the same way. I think what's nice to know is we have a Gantt chart and to show the cards in an advanced a timeline view, basically. And we have a reporting capability. So everything works not only on a single board, but specifically across boards, even across workspaces. So if you have boards from different workspaces that you would like to see in one view, this is possible. And the reports specifically, we have a lot of widgets and for all of your analysis and tables, and they are all fully dynamic. So if you click on one, you can see the cards, you can open them to change them, these kind of things. So that's a very quick overview. But I would say if you have more than one board and you have a question on how to make your life easier, feel free to try one of the power-ups or to reach out in the chat in Placker, because we would be happy to help you with any tips to improve your setup for that.
I love that. That's gonna be the line I start using to tell people about Placker. If you have more than one board you work in and you want to make your life easier, I like that. That's a great way to explain it, and definitely good to combine these together. So yeah, thank you so much, Render. This is amazing. This is really cool to see. I think lots of great use cases here and lots of stuff you can do with Placker. So we're definitely going to have to do more of these events and talk about all the different things that Placker can do, and we would definitely love to have you back.
Absolutely. And I was thinking, Brittany, maybe we could do a session once on how to on board layouts, when to split a board, when to combine boards, because it's one of the topics that comes back often.
Oh, I agree.
I would be happy to spend a lot of time talking about it.
Yes, Put in the chat if you'd be interested in that, because I definitely think. I mean, I know. Folks not here, I know would be interested in that. I get that question a lot about how do I know when I need to break out my boards or when I've got too many cards here, or should I put this all in one board or should this be separate? And there's lots of pros and cons to kind of weigh through with that. And that's a great idea for a top session for sure. Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you again for joining. And I know you've got to bounce, so feel free to bounce. But folks, I'll be monitoring, if you're watching this recording, put in the chat if you still have any questions and I'll make sure we get them addressed. So thanks for joining.
Thanks a lot. Speak to everyone later.
Bye. And
Yeah.
for everyone still, sticking around here, we've got another demo coming up, and we've got a really exciting announcement. I think we should go ahead and make the announcement now, as a brief sort of little intermission here. But we are hosting the one, the only, the first TrelloCon. This is a dream come true for me. I have wanted for years to organize a Trello conference, and it's finally happening. It's about time, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah, it's something that's been a challenge for me over the years, trying to kind of put together events for Trello, just because of the nature of Trello. So yeah, having this come together, it kind of coincides with Atlassian being in Anaheim in April anyway. So yeah, it seems to be the perfect opportunity. Plus, we've managed to rope in people from the Trello team and as many people as possible to try and get involved. So I think it's going to be big and it's going to be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've got, folks from Trello who are going to be there. We're going to talk about upcoming launches, things coming in Trello. We'll do some talks and some workshops, some nerding out about Trello and best practices and things like that. And of course, you'll get to learn about some more power-ups. We'll have, fun games, giveaways. It'll be exactly what you're thinking. So if you're going to be at team, awesome, great, come on over. We will, we'll join this. This is the unofficial bash pre-party. So this, yeah, if you're at team, this is great. If you're not going to be at team, but you're still interested in coming, come on over. We would love to have you. We tried to very intentionally make this in Orange County, which is not quite where it's not quite exactly next door to the Anaheim Convention Center where team is, but we wanted to make this a little more accessible for folks who maybe aren't, spending a whole week coming to team, but want to come nerd out about Trello with us. And so please come and join. It's going to be in the afternoon. We've got, from 3 to 7 p.m. California time. And yeah, kind of what it says on the tin here is what it is. So I'm going to put a link to this in the chat, but we definitely would love to have as many folks can. Do we need to dress up? You have to dress up like your favorite power up. That is, I think our prompt is dress as your favorite power up or your favorite Trello feature. So I don't know, like I'm looking forward to people coming like with a mirror in their pocket or something like that. But yes, definitely need to dress up there. But wear whatever makes you fun and feel comfortable and excited to nerd out and talk about Trello. So we're super excited for this. But I put the link in the chat. Please RSVP if you can come in person, because we need to. I mean, RSVP either way. We're working on some virtual components, so TBD on exactly. Yeah, midnight event in Europe. California is gonna be. Rasmus, you've got to come out with us. This is your invite. So come on. We need you in person. If it's gonna be midnight in Europe, then we got to get you out here, right? Can't be out in Europe. So but yeah, definitely
Rasmus,
try to
you have
join
to be
if
there
you
to
can.
be able to school the Trello guys on the API.
Yeah, exactly, right? You've got to come and tell them, how to fix all of these things. So, dressing like an old person, archiving a card means the project is done. I love that. AB dressing as an archived card. Oh my gosh. We need to this is making me think that like I need to do like a Trello themed Halloween again. This would be amazing. So, yeah, so again, make sure, please RSVP, whether you're virtual or in person, because we're going to try to make accommodations for virtual and figure out how to do that. And also there's going to be food and drinks and stuff. So in person, it's definitely good to know who's going to be there. So yeah, that is our announcement. And then next up on the agenda, we've got a demo from Board Genius, which is another power up that helps with mirroring and syncing. And so I am going to our friends from Board Genius are not able to actually join us today, but they put together this video. I'm going to play it, and obviously, we'll be in the chat here. And definitely, if you have any questions, post them in the chat. I will encourage them to come to this chat and watch this and respond to comments in here. So may not be able to answer everything right away if you have questions, but definitely want to show you all that and get those questions answered. So I'll go ahead and switch over to that.
Hey, what's up, Trailblazers? Thank you for having me on the stream.
All right, here we go.
I'm Matt Shaw, founder and creator of a Trello power-up called Board Genius. So As we know, Trello is a great tool for organizing work, but as projects grow, it can become really cumbersome to manage all those cards and projects and boards. So Board Genius is here to change that by helping you see what you need, where you need it. Board Genius is a powerful tool that can automatically synchronize and mirror your Trello cards between Trello boards, or even other project management software like Jira, GitHub, Asana, and more. And this isn't just a one and done thing to copy and sync these cards. Board Genius will continuously sync your changes in the background and in both directions, meaning that changes in project 1 will be synced to project 2, and changes in project 2 will be synced back to project 1, if you'd like. So whether you're managing cross-functional teams or handling client requests, Board Genius helps keep everything connected so you don't have to spend time manually updating multiple projects. So just to run through some common use cases of Board Genius, mirroring cards from a main Trello board to an employee or client-specific board. So if you have all company cards in one board, maybe you have 500 cards, who knows, and you would just want to mirror, say, 10 cards for a certain client to their own board so they can see what the progress of their work is. You can do that. Mirroring developer-related cards to a project management tool that developers use like GitHub. So developers can work in GitHub, they can create issues in GitHub and have those sync back to Trello. Or mirroring multiple boards to your own board. So let's say you're a freelancer, you have 5, 10 clients, you have a board for each of your clients. Wouldn't it be nice to sync all those cards to your own board so you can have a bird's eye view of all your projects at once? All right, so let's dive in and I'll take you through adding the power up to your Trello board and then a common way that our users are utilizing Board Genius. So let's look at a very common setup for Board Genius users. What we have here is a company board that's managing work across the entire company. And then we have a personal board for an employee named Matt. So as you know, company boards can get really crowded, get really busy, make it hard to focus on what you need to dive into just to get a clear picture on what you need to do for the day or for the week. So it's very common that employees will go and create their own boards where they can 1, manage work that's coming from the company board, and then 2, manage personal tasks that they have. So Board Genius can sync cards that are just assigned to you or given a label of some type like design team or biz dev, and bring those over to your personal board where you can see just the things that you want to work on. So I'll walk through setting up that example here with Board Genius and syncing those changes across. So we already have the Board Genius Power Up installed on this board, and this gives me this Board Genius Sync button at the top. So I'll click this to open up the Board Genius interface. And we're presented with 2 different options. The option on the left is if you want to select individual cards to sync to another board. This is a less powerful option, but something that works for some users that just have a few cards they want to sync. The option on the right is to sync any card from any list to another board with the option of filtering and having more powerful ways to control how cards are synced. So for this, I'm going to select sync any card from any list. I want to sync from Trello because I want to sync from this company board. So the first thing I need to do is provide access to my boards to Board Genius. So it's automatically selected the company board, which I'm currently on, to sync from, and then it's asking which board do I want to sync to. So I want to sync to Matt's board. So I select Matt's board, and now it's asking if I want to sync cards from company board to Matt's board. We do. Do I also want to sync any cards that are created in Matt's board back to the company board? Now I'm going to say no here because in Matt's board I might have personal things that are not really applicable to the entire company, maybe personal tasks that I want to accomplish. So for now I'm going to say no, I don't want to sync cards created in Matt's board. Great, so we've created the sync, but there's still a few more things we need to look at before we finalize and start the sync. So at the top, we have controls for what direction we want to sync. Do we want to sync comments? Do we want to only sync updates from cards? The first thing we have is, as we already mentioned, I want to sync cards that are created in the company board to Matt's board. That's enabled. Do I want to sync comments from the company board to Matt's board? I do. And then the next option, do I want to sync tickets that are created in Matt's board to the company board? I have that disabled for the reasons I mentioned before. And do I want to sync updates from Matt's board to the company board? So what this means is that cards that were originally created in the company board, they're synced over to Matt's board. If any changes are made to that same card in Matt's board, we would like to see those updates sync back to the company board, so I will enable that. And then also with the same concept with comments, do I want to sync comments back to the company board? I do. Scrolling down, we have a few more options. So cards that are copied over to Matt's board, where do we want to put those? I want to put them in inbox. And then we come down to card filter. So this is where some of the magic happens. We don't want to copy everything on the company board over to Matt's board. We only want to copy cards that are pertinent or relevant to Matt. And one way to do that is to say, cards that are assigned to Matt, copy those over. That seems pretty straightforward. So we can add a filter, and we can select assignee, and we can say assignee should equal Matt138, which is Matt's username. We can save that. So now when Board Genius loads all the cards from company board, it'll first make sure that the card matches this filter where assignee is Matt before syncing it over to Matt's board. Scrolling further down, we have fields to sync, which shows which fields are going to sync in between the cards. So you actually don't have to sync everything. Maybe you just want to sync title, description, you want to leave labels alone, you want to let Matt add his own labels to his cards and not have those sync back. So by default, we list everything here. We enable all the different Trello fields, including checklists, attachments, custom fields, card cover, and we leave assignee disabled because this is something that requires a little more setup before you can enable it. And I'll get into that in a second. So I know I actually want to do this because I know that's going to be assigned to Matt. Assignee syncing is now enabled, and we need to make sure that we do user mapping. So if you have assignee syncing enabled, but the users that you're assigning to don't have access in both boards, then we can't actually sync the assignee. So that's why we put this warning up and we tell you that you need to make sure that those are synced. Right here we can see that we have Board Genius and we have Matt that both have access to both boards. It's automatically been mapped, so we're good to go here. List mappings, this is if you have, say, a list done in the company board and you want this to map to the list done ! In Matt's board. What this means is if a card is moved into done there in the company board, Board Genius will automatically move it into the done board in Matt's board. Any lists that have the same exact name, Board Genius will automatically map them. But as you can see, we're managing different lists here in Matt's board versus the company board. Okay, so with those changes, we should be able to save this and start syncing. So I'll just click Save Changes. And it says I'm all set. My sync will start within a few minutes. So as you may remember, we added a filter to only sync cards that are assigned to Matt. Looking at this board right now, we have nothing assigned to Matt, so nothing is currently syncing. So we can go over to Matt's board and we can see nothing's changed. So what I'll do is I'll go in here and I'll create a new card for Matt. Edit email draft. Open this up and I'll do a couple things. I'll add a description. Please edit this draft and return it. I will assign this to Matt and I'll set the priority in my custom fields to high. Okay, so with that card created, it should sync over to Matt's board momentarily. And let's flip over to Matt's board and see that in the inbox, we have this edit email draft card synced over from the main company board. Okay, so through the power of video editing, I now have the company board on the left with this card open. And then I have the employee board on the right, Matt's board, and I'm logged in as Matt on the right and the company on the left. So Matt's received this card in his inbox in his personal board on the right. And he's noticed that there's nothing attached to the board, to the card rather. So I'll come in and I'll leave a comment. You forgot to attach the email draft. And also say, you know what, I think this is going to be an effort of 5, arbitrary number. So we can see on the left that that comment that Matt left on his card is synced over to the company board, and the effort custom field is updated to 5. Matt is correct. I forgot to attach that email draft, so I'll go ahead and I'll drag a Word doc onto the card and that it gets attached. And then I'll say, sorry about that, attached it now. And then we'll wait for that to sync. And there we go. We can see, sorry about that, attach it now comment, and now Matt has that attachment on his card in his board. Now, quickly going back to our setup in the sync. If you recall, we had 2 lists with different names that we mapped together. In the company board we have done, and in Matt's board we have done ! Matt's a little more enthusiastic about finishing work. So I want to show how that mapping works in practice. So let's just scroll over here. We can see the done list in the company board, and we have the done ! In Matt's board. let's pretend that Matt has edited the email. He's ready to return it. We'll attach the final edited copy. We call it final, as is tradition. And then we will move this to the done ! List in Matt's board. So there it is right there. We'll wait for the sync, which takes just a minute. Okay, now that the sync is done, we can see that edit email draft is now in the done list in the company board. We can open this up and we see that email edited final has been attached. So you can imagine how this is a powerful tool, not just to sync with one employee of the company, but multiple, and even for clients. Let's say you have an entire company board and you want to sync some cards just for a specific client. You can create a board just for that client and sync their work only to that board. We have a help center article showing how to do that, having one parent board syncing to multiple child boards. Open up this screenshot and you can see just in the example here, we have a green list, a blue list, a red list. We're syncing everything in the green list to the green board, everything in the blue list syncs to the blue board, everything in the red list syncs to the red board, and back and forth. So this can really save a company a lot of time. Just get your messaging across to either specific clients, specific employees, let them work in their own sandbox, and sync changes back to the main company board so you have visibility. Remember that Board Genius doesn't only sync with Trello, it also syncs with other tools like GitHub, Jira, GitLab, Asana, Monday. This means with the same idea, you could sync just specific cards that are for developers over to GitHub. Developers love working in GitHub, and likewise, you can sync the issues created in GitHub back to Trello so that you have visibility across the company. All right, so if all went well, you just saw me give a demo on how you can sync specific cards for a certain team member to their own board. I wanted to cover some common questions that come up about how Board Genius works and our pricing. So first thing to get into, pricing. Looking at this is from one of our competitors, and they have pricing that scales with you. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want my pricing to scale at all unless I ask it to. So on this page, they don't even show prices. I think that tells you how affordable their services are. Board Genius offers pretty much the same exact service, syncing cards to multiple other project management tools, including all the fields you want to sync, for starting at $4 a month. We go up to $15, $29, $89 a month, depending on how many projects you want to sync, and that's determined by how many sync bots you use. So on the right, there's an example of 3 different syncs we have set up. Each of these is a sync bot. So a sync bot is essentially 2 projects that are paired together syncing. We have company board to Matt's board, company board to Britt's board, company board to Asia's board. 3 sync bots, this would put you in line with $15 a month under the Plus plan, which has up to 5 sync bots. So is there a limit to how many cards I can sync? No. Board Genius pricing is based on how many projects you want to sync regardless, so how many sync bots you're using. Our competitors sync based on how many cards, how many comments, how many attachments you have. That's how their pricing scales, meaning one day you add 20 cards, you're now paying more for syncing because you have more cards than you did the day before. So what is synced in Trello? Pretty much everything. Labels, due dates, custom fields, attachments, assignees, comments, covers, all that. One-to-one syncing if you're syncing from Trello to Trello. And then you can map these custom fields and other fields to, say, GitHub. You can get really granular with where you want to sync labels to, where you want to sync due dates, and all that. So now a question we're getting a lot is, how is Board Genius syncing different from Trello's built-in card mirroring, which they just released? Great question. There's this little mirror button on Trello cards, if you haven't noticed. The biggest difference is that the person you're sharing with needs to have access to the original board that the card came from. To me, that's a huge showstopper, because if you want to sync cards to another board, let's say for a client, you obviously don't want your client to have access to your main company board. That's why you created the other board for them. So using Trello's feature, you can mirror that card to their board. They won't be able to see it because they don't have access to the original board. The other big difference is you can automatically sync multiple cards from your board. You could sync the entire board. You can filter syncing, and in Trello's version of this, you can go one by one to sync cards, which is really not scalable beyond a handful of cards. So that's all for today. There's a lot more I could cover. If you have any questions, please reach out at help@boardgenius.io. And thanks for everyone that's watching. We're offering 50% off your first month by emailing Trailblazers to help@boardgenius.io. Thanks again, guys, for having me. Take care.
All right. Awesome. Well, yeah. Thank you, Matt, for sharing that. And again, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'll make sure to direct Matt over here to get them answered. So if you're watching the recording, and you have questions on any of this, drop it in. No problemo at all. But yeah, otherwise, I think we are about to wrap it up here today. We made it our official full hour. Any closing thoughts, Mike? Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think it's obviously a big topic at the moment because Trello released board mirroring after many years of talking. They've actually released it, and I love the way they've done it. It's nicely done. It's simple enough and functional enough for most people. And I think the people who are joining this event are basically the people who need a little bit more, and that's when all the different power ups come into play. And yeah, I think Board Genius and Placker are both excellent solutions that are pretty affordable and functional and give you so much more than what Trello's native mirroring does. So, yeah, I'd recommend anyone look into them if Trello mirroring is not enough.
Absolutely. I think that, yeah, I think that makes perfect sense. For some people, that will be enough, and for some, it won't. And if you've got multiple boards you need talking to each other, these power ups are great ways to do that. So, yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Just a quick reminder, you can follow along with this Trello board. Scan this QR code. I will put the link in the chat one more time as well. But this is, where's my chat? Here it is. This is a board that has the links to this recording, so you can always come back to it, some special offers, links to go directly to the power-ups, and some more information on there as well. So definitely check those out. Also, if you want, please subscribe to my weekly Trello newsletter. It comes out every Thursday morning, and I share tips and tricks about how to do all things in Trello. You can go to howtotrello.com or scan that QR code, and it's free. There is a premium version with some added features like being able to get on a call with me once a month, but the free version you get still in your inbox every week, and it is pretty valuable, even if I do say so myself. And if you want help with Trello, Mike has got you covered. Mike, I can speak for you, or I don't know if you want to give yourself a plug and explain all the awesome stuff Dream Suite can do for people with Trello.
Yeah. So yeah, it's basically Trello consulting. So if there's something you can't do with Trello, or if you've got your Trello workspace into a mess, or you just need a little bit of advice to tweak things, you can contact me and I can help consult with that. One thing that's becoming quite popular at the moment is one of the things I offer is kind of a review of your workspace. So you show me what you've got, and I come up with a package of suggestions of things you can do to make it better and utilize the Trello features more, including power up recommendations and board structure automations, that kind of thing. So that's becoming something that quite a lot of people are taking up. So yeah, go to the website, all the information's there. And yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. And on that note, we will call it here. Make sure, if you're not already subscribed to Trello Trailblazers, make sure to be subscribed to Trello Trailblazers. I'll put a chat in here for that, or a link in the chat for that as well. But join, and then you'll get notifications when we have new events coming up, and you'll get recaps to things like this. So thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you again next